What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Worlds Collide, here with your girl Diva and the official JW. We are, of course, back with another reaction. This video is coming from the YouTube channel Audit the Audit, and the title is Officers Detain a Lawyer on His Own Property. So, Audit the Audit, he actually grades police interactions with the public, and so it's like what they did wrong and what they could have done better, or what they did better. Like, I've seen videos where cops, of course, got better grades than what I've seen. So hopefully in this situation, they'll get better grades. Maybe they'll get a good grade. Maybe not. I don't know. But the title sounds kind of bad.
I'm biased with this guy. So.
We already know that. Just play the video.
Internet access for sponsoring this episode. On July 10th, 2021, civil rights attorney Emmanuel Olawale was moving some bags of trash from his vehicle to a dumpster behind his rented office in Westerville, Ohio. Based on concerns of illegal dumping, which a statement from the Westerville Chief of Police suggests is a common reason for officer investigations, officers Dan Ruth and Matthew Ballman of the Westerville Division of Police pulled in behind Mr. Olawale, exited their vehicle, and approached him.
Hi there.
Because somebody's taking trash out of their car and putting it in a dumpster?
Illegal dumping?
Right.
Yeah.
Illegal dumping is leaving it out in the open.
No, because you can take trash from your place and just drop it off or whatever, and yeah, it's illegal because that's not your place.
As long as it's going in a dumpster, how's that illegal?
Because it's not yours.
We're going to have to look that up.
Just run the video. You know I'm already biased.
Hey, your office is here?
An office here.
Okay, which office is it?
The Olawale law firm.
The what?
Here's my business card.
So the dumpster's his.
No, it's not.
He just said...
It's whoever owns the building. You can't take your personal trash from your house.
That doesn't look like personal trash.
It's coming from his car. Just, you know.
How often do you put trash in your trunk?
You hear people who do that.
Okay.
Hello, illegal dumper. You know what? Just run the video. Look, this could be the first reaction. I'm just gonna sit here.
Yeah, okay.
Because this guy, this channel is nothing but fake news and bad mouth people. So just run the video. Just run it. Just here.
Yeah, okay. We gonna see.
160.
No, you're gonna see.
I'm not watching.
All right. Huh?
Show you my ID.
If you don't mind, just so, yeah, if you don't mind, can we see your ID?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. That is pretty cool. That's a slick business card.
Yep.
So is he not supposed to have a nice business card?
I'll give it to him. You can keep doing what you're doing. We're just, again, we're kind of concerned. Yeah, seeing somebody dump a bunch of stuff there. So, all right.
Have it back? Just don't run it. Don't run my card. Don't run my ID. Don't run my ID.
Don't run your ID?
You have no reason to.
Well, we're going to at least mark it down. We're going to take down your information.
Nope.
After providing his identification to the officers to confirm his identity as a tenant of the office building, Mr. Olawale tells the officers not to run his ID, but the officers argue that they are within their authority to record his information for their incident reports. According to section 2921.29 of the Ohio Revised Code, quote, "No person who is in a public place shall refuse to disclose the person's name, address, or date of birth when requested by a law enforcement officer who reasonably suspects the person is committing, has committed, or is about to commit a criminal offense." It is likely that the officers had reasonable suspicion to initially detain Mr. Olawale on suspicions of illegal dumping, which is defined in section 3767.32 of the Ohio Revised Code. The statute states that, quote, "No person, without privilege to do so, shall knowingly deposit litter in a litter receptacle located on any private property not owned by the person," and explains that, quote, "This section may be enforced
Okay, alright, I'll give you that. Okay, alright.
by any sheriff, deputy sheriff, police officer of a municipal corporation, or any other law enforcement officer within the law enforcement officer's jurisdiction." However, even though the stop was likely initially justified, it is questionable whether the officers could constitutionally run a warrant check on Mr. Olawale after he provided them with his ID. In the 2015 case of Rodriguez versus United States, the Supreme Court held that because traffic stops are especially fraught with danger to police officers, an officer may need to take certain, quote, negligibly burdensome precautions, such as criminal record and outstanding warrant checks, in order to complete their mission safely. While the question of whether the officers had the authority to continue to detain Mr. Olawale after he provided evidence that he was a tenant is a gray area that we will discuss later in this episode. If a court concluded that the officers had reasonable suspicion to continue detaining him, they would likely also determine that the officers had the authority to run his ID as an officer safety precaution.
I'm on my property, putting trash in mine.
Okay, but this is not just your property. It's several people's property.
I understand.
Okay.
But I'm not violating any law. So
No one said that you were violating any law.
No. Don't run my ID. I'm a lawyer. I know my rights.
Okay.
I'm not violating any law. I'm on my property. There's no suspicion. No one called anybody. So don't run my ID. I only identify myself so that this won't escalate.
That's fine, but we can still mark down who we're out with, and so that's what we're going to do.
Here's my opinion. Once he proved that he was a tenant on that property, obviously he was in every right to be throwing away trash. Because you said, oh, he doesn't own the property. Well, okay, do any of the tenants in an apartment complex own the property?
That's what they say. You can dump your trash from your unit into the trash, but if someone else is driving into the complex and dumping it, that's illegal dumping.
You're missing the point.
He just said the law.
You're a tenant, right?
Mm-hmm.
At an apartment complex, right?
Yeah.
You're a tenant. You're not the owner.
Correct. And if a cop came to me and said, hey, what are you doing? And I explained to him, oh, hey, I'm just tossing my trash. Oh, okay, can I see your ID? Here you go. He's going to do his shit. I'm going to give him my ID because, hey, that's what he's supposed to do. I'm not gonna become an asshole. Oh, don't run my shit. Don't run my shit.
If I'm a police officer and I did something like that, and you showed me that you live here, all right, here you go. Have a good day.
This is why you're not a cop.
Because all the extra is just unnecessary.
Just run the video. Look, I'm not about to sit here.
Okay, whatever.
Turn this into
Who's doing it though?
an issue.
Sir, you are turning this into an issue. We're just simply marking down who we're out with. Yeah. So he's just going to write it down on a piece of paper.
It's just your name.
Why?
Because, sir, we are out with you because we were concerned that you were illegally dumping.
But you already discovered. Do you want me to show you my office?
I understand that you're here, but I don't know if this dumpster belongs to you or somebody else in the
It belongs
complex.
to me.
Despite the fact that Mr. Olawale offered the officers evidence to show that he was not committing a crime, the officers insist on writing down his name for their report. Supreme Court precedent makes it clear that if the information discovered during an officer's Terry stop investigation, including the evidence provided by the suspect, dispels their reasonable suspicion, they cannot continue to detain an individual. For example, in the 1984 case of Berkemer versus McCarty, the Supreme Court explained that police officers are within their authority to stop and identify citizens based on reasonable suspicion, but, quote, the detainee is not obliged to respond, and unless the detainee's answers provide the officer with probable cause to arrest him, he must then be released. Unfortunately, there is no bright-line rule for when reasonable suspicion is dispelled, and courts must make this determination on a case-by-case basis according to the totality of the circumstances. Although Mr. Olawale offered proof that he was a tenant in the building, as we will discuss later in this episode, he did not provide proof that he was privileged to use the dumpster, making it possible that a court could find that the officers were justified in continuing their investigation until they obtained evidence to dispel their suspicions. However, if a court concluded that Mr. Olawale had sufficiently dispelled the officers' suspicions, the continuing encounter would become consensual, and the officers would have no authority to detain Mr. Olawale to run a warrant check. As detailed in a law enforcement bulletin issued by the Ohio Attorney General, if an officer takes the ID and goes to the cruiser to run warrant checks, they can convert a consensual encounter into an unlawful detention, since a reasonable person would believe they were no longer free to leave while the officer has their ID. However, as the bulletin goes on to explain, if an individual consensually provides their ID, the officer can write down information from the ID, such as the name, without triggering the Fourth Amendment. Therefore, it is likely a court would find that the officers could constitutionally document Mr. Olawale's name after he provided his identification, whether or not he was being detained.
To you and you alone?
Yes.
Can you prove that that dumpster belongs to you and you alone?
This dumpster belongs to the property.
Okay,
and
that's
I'm dumping my stuff in there.
That's my point, though, is that if it's also other units,
So what? It belongs to everybody. We're paying for it. It doesn't really matter if it belongs to all the units.
That's fine.
Just give me back my ID. Thank you.
The officer suggests that the only dumpster area that is on a private lot shared by several different businesses may only be accessible to some tenants, and implies that Mr. Olawale may not have access to the dumpster despite renting space on the property. While this seems like an unlikely scenario, it is technically a legal possibility under Ohio's commercial landlord-tenant laws. According to the Westerville zoning map, Mr. Olawale's office is located in a mixed-use quote-unquote planned development, or PD, zone. Section 1162.04 of the codified Westerville ordinances provides that on properties in PD zones, quote, trash and litter shall be controlled and stored in container systems which are located and enclosed in a manner to screen them from view on all sides. However, Ohio law does not place a legal obligation on commercial landlords to provide their tenants with access to a dumpster or other trash container system, as commercial tenants in Ohio have very few rights outside of those established in the lease. Under Section 5321.04 of the Ohio Revised Code, landlords are legally required to meet certain minimum standards, such as providing trash receptacles and trash removal if 4 or more units are owned in the same building, which cannot be waived in the lease. On the other hand, commercial tenants generally have no rights other than what is established in the lease agreement, and landlords and tenants can freely negotiate whatever terms they would like as long as they are not illegal or contrary to public policy. In fact, one type of commercial lease, known as a true triple net lease, requires tenants to take responsibility for all of the property's expenses, including utilities, real estate taxes, building insurance, and maintenance. Given the vast discretion given to commercial landlords and tenants in negotiating lease terms, in this situation, it would be feasible for Mr. Olawale to rent an office but not have access to the dumpster. However, it is also possible that this line of questioning was merely a distraction tactic to keep Mr. Olawale busy while the other officer wrote down his information.
Hi.
Don't worry, everything is under control. And that's my wife.
Okay, that's fine. Do you want your card back?
Yeah, I understand you came to check, but trying to run my ID to find anything, no, that's illegal.
That is not illegal. But, okay, you can finish stumping if you like.
Thank you.
Alright, just turn around and get out of here, and then we'll look him up.
After returning Mr. Olawale's ID, the officers allowed him to leave and drove away. The following day, Mr. Olawale posted about the situation on social media, alleging that racial bias played a role in the encounter. In response to the posts, Westerville Police Chief Charles Chandler requested that an investigation be initiated, and the division published a webpage that included a statement from Chief Chandler and body cam footage from both officers. In his statement, Chief Chandler concluded that, quote, the body-worn camera shows a professional and polite encounter between our officers and Mr. Olawale, and that the officer's behavior was, quote, completely in line with the expectations of WPD officers. In a later interview, Mr. Olawale stated that he would file an official complaint if he thought it would make a difference, but since he believed the WPD statement was, quote-unquote, tone-deaf, and that filing a complaint wouldn't make any difference, he did not plan to do so. Overall, the Westerville officers get a B-, because although much of their conduct was ethical...
That's a passing grade.
Yeah.
B-.
Because they did their job.
Ethically questionable, they remained within the bounds of their authority throughout the interaction and initiated the stop based on a legitimate, reasonable suspicion. Departmental policy is a necessary element of any law enforcement organization, and there are many reasons why a department might require their officers to document the citizens that they make contact with. However, policies like these often clash with the Fourth Amendment and leave citizens feeling as though their privacy was violated even though they committed no crimes. It is difficult to rationalize the notion that identifying citizens who committed no crimes for the sake of departmental policy is a fair representation of protecting and serving the community, and this mentality will likely produce many more constitutional conundrums if left unchecked. There is a strong argument to be made that the officers were within their authority to continue investigating Mr. Olawale until they determined whether or not he had access to the dumpster in question. However, there is an equally compelling argument to be made that Mr. Olawale had provided enough evidence to dispel any suspicions the officers may have had, and it would certainly be interesting to see how a court would rule on this encounter. Ultimately, the Westerville officers allowed Mr. Olawale to go free without pressing the issue any further, but not before sacrificing Mr. Olawale's sense of privacy to ensure that their stop was properly documented. Mr. Olawale gets an A-, because although he willfully surrendered his ID to the officers, he remained relatively calm calm and collected throughout the encounter, actively worked to dispel the officer's suspicions, and respectfully challenged the conduct of the officers. When Mr. Olawale showed his ID to the officers, it appeared as though he only meant to present his ID, not surrender it into their possession.
Right.
And the officer's refusal to give his ID back betrayed the forthcoming and compliant demeanor that Mr. Olawale was initially attempting to convey. Despite this, Mr. Olawale managed to compose himself and challenge the officer's conduct while maintaining a stern but level-headed attitude. I commend Mr. Olawale for remaining calm and compliant as he challenged the officers, but I also believe that his initial unreserved compliance is what prompted the officers to continue investigating. Offering officers more information than what they're asking for is almost never a good idea, and surrendering just enough detail to dispel an officer's suspicion without revealing sensitive information is an extremely difficult and circumstantial task. By no means is there a situation where refusing to obey lawful orders or physically resisting arrest would be considered legal, but this interaction is a great example of how being overly compliant can sometimes work against you. Let us know if there's an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.
He made a point. Because he gave him his business card, showing him my business is here. There's my name. There's what I do. There's the name of my business. There's the address.
That may be true.
Right here.
That may be true and all, but at the same time, it's like, yo, if I'm a cop and I'm pulling up because there's been reports of illegal dumping in the area, and I pull up and I see a car dumping trash in a commercial lot. Yeah, I have every right to sit there and say, oh, hey, what's going on? Can I see your license plate?
And I said
if I'm doing my report, yeah, I need to document who I'm talking to for my report, because that's my job. I have to follow my department's procedures.
But did you hear what he said, though?
Yeah, I heard what he said.
He said that he should have just showed it to him, and instead the cop ended up taking it from him. Now, I'm not saying whether or not the cop took it or he willfully handed it over. But doing a whole, because that's what he was getting ready to go do. He was getting ready to go do a warrant search.
Well, yeah.
With his,
everybody knows that's, yeah, when they give you like counsel, yeah, they want to make sure you don't have warrants.
But did you hear that it's unconstitutional?
Yeah, but let's just be real. Like I said time and time again, it may be, people may think, oh, it's unconstitutional. Yeah, but at the end of the day, most departments have, like he just said, that's most departments' policies, though. So they tend to clash with the Constitution, but that's policy. You have to, I don't give a damn.
But this is why policies need to be changed.
But see, I don't give a damn. At the end of the day, if I'm a cop, I'm following my policy. Because that's my neck on the line. Because if I don't follow policy, yeah, I can get in trouble for it.
All he had to do was write his name down.
I'm still going to go back. Yeah, but I'm still going to go back. Because what if he turned out he was wanted for something? And then, oh, I was the person who was wanted.
A lawyer wanted for something?
You can be wanted for anything.
Business card and ID.
Just because you're a lawyer does not mean you can't be a wanted person.
That may be true and all, but again, all he had to do, okay, write your name down, write his name down.
Because at the end of the day,
give him his ID back.
What I find like kind of bullshit is like he tried to play the race card. Oh, it's racist, but no, they're doing their job. I didn't see no racial issues there.
No, I didn't see any racial issues there.
So that's the
either.
one thing I got is like that's bullshit, because it's like, oh, you want to play the race card because for what? Because two white cops came up and was doing their job? No. In this case, I got to side 100% with the cops. They did their job. They didn't do anything wrong.
In somewhat of an excess, because again, all they had to do was write his name down.
So I don't see nothing wrong from the cops. Hey.
Like I said, they got a passing grade.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So you want to do the outro set and tell people where they can find this guy at?
No, you can go ahead.
So can you move that so I can see, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What are you doing? Everything y'all need to know is going to be in the description below. Saying where you can find us and everything. You can see, I don't like these people who try to paint cops in a bad way when they're doing their job.
It's not trying to paint cops in a bad light. It's simply to say, look, this is a situation that happened. It's just like Live PD. This is what happened. Here are the laws for where these people are. Yeah, yes, you can.
Because I've watched it. Hate that it got canceled. But it's like, you see different departments have different policies. And it's like watching it, you see how different places do things differently. And it goes to say, hey, 90% of the time, they're following, there's not one universal, oh, this is how you do it. No, every department has their own.
Okay, and I agree with that. But hence, that's why Audit the Audit brought up their policies.
Yeah.
Brought up other court cases where similar incidences have happened, where the ruling, however way the ruling went. And he also puts up the laws and how they're written for that particular state or that county or city or whatever. So that's why I like his end, and he's not, it's not like he's unfair to the cops in these situations. Because trust me, there have been some videos where it's like, yo, they definitely took their job too serious and felt like they were above the law. And now in this situation, he was fair about it. He gave them a passing grade. That's actually the first time I've seen a passing grade.
So y'all go see this. We collide on this topic because she's anti-police. I'm not.
I am not anti-police. That's a lie.
So y'all can see the butting heads on this one. There might be another video from him. Y'all see we clash.
No, there'll be plenty of videos from him.
Hence why we collide. Hence why it's called Worlds Collide. But I won't be saying too much on these videos because, yeah.
No, you have to.
But on that note, link and everything is gonna be in the bio where you can find this guy. You can find us. Catch y'all next time.
Bye, y'all.